We know that women who are pregnant or trying to get pregnant should avoid alcohol, but a new study shows the same may apply to men. We're joined now by Claude Robert, one of the researchers behind this study. He is a professor in the Animal Science Department at Laval University in Quebec City. Mr. Robert, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So this was a study on mice. Can you break down what the study found?
Well, basically, we were looking at the impact of binge drinking, which is a short time lapse, but for many drinks. So basically, the mice were fed with 10% alcohol for a few hours after the light were switched off, and then what we found is that the epigenome, which is the crust over the DNA, is different between in the sperm between the treatment. So in male that have been drinking alcohol, this epigenome layer over the DNA is a bit different than the ones that hasn't been drinking alcohol. And what we also found is that these regions that are different are in the same region as what was found previously in the DNA of the fetal alcohol syndrome, where the mother was drinking alcohol. So the point is that we're suggesting that the male drinking alcohol are leaving some of these marks available in their sperm, and this may carry over in the offspring.
Fascinating. Now, we know, there's always been pressure on the woman to make lifestyle changes for their future child. Would you say now that there is a shared responsibility with this, that some of that should apply to the man also to make some lifestyle changes?
Yeah, it's changing the game a little bit, because the small contribution of the male, which was to simply give half of its DNA, is now changing. It's not only transferring DNA, it's also transferring some of the marks that has been put on the DNA from the lifestyle during spermatogenesis. And this was, from a decade ago, anyone would have suggested that, people wouldn't believe it. We're not the only study that are showing that. What we're seeing is that the sperm is capable of remembering the lifestyle of the father, and that can be carried over to the offspring.
So what is your advice then for men who are planning on having a child in the near future? What could they do?
Well, if the goal is zero risk at all, I mean, we have to take into consideration that spermatogenesis in human takes between 60 and 74 days. So we're talking about a 2 months period. And during that 2 months period, we're talking about a cell that is vastly changing shape. And there is a very remodeling, a complete remodeling of the cell and the DNA. And these are opportunities where environmental stresses can leave marks. So if we think that the windows of opportunity is actually during that transformation, well, that could mean that if someone wants to plan a family, maybe you should stop drinking maybe 2 months before conception. If we want to talk about the zero risk at all.
Zero risk. So it's important to keep in mind that 2 month period where the sperm is created. So it's not like you should plan ahead, essentially, not make changes right before.
Yep. I mean, once the sperm is completely done, it could be, I would say, very solid and not move too much and not being affected very much by the environment. So the steps before could be the key steps where these marks could be left in.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me.